fair with our citizens based on what other communities are doing and what the ability of people have to pay.
Ms. Neal?
Yes, without further research, I don't feel really qualified to answer this question as far as, is it fair? Because, you know, I don't have experience with other cities and how they've been in the past, but with the proper resources and staff, if elected, I would be able to look into that and answer that question. And I also believe that, and I just lost my train of thought, sorry.
Okay, we're out of time anyway. Mr. Wallace.
You know, that is something that the utility rate, it really needs to be looked at, because what are you supposed to do if you're on a fixed income and summer's here, 110 degrees, and your lawn's dying? I don't really feel that, I do feel that they should need to maintain their yard, but, you know, not be charged an arm and a limb to have a green lawn. So it needs to be evaluated.
Mr. White?
The utility department shouldn't be a way for the city to increase their coffers. Simply put, it should have a set cost, and that cost should be basically what the citizens are charged. I think it's also a good idea, some other people have talked about it, I think we could look at some xenoscaping options, letting people have low water landscaping. It still looks beautiful, but it uses a lot less water.
Mr. Culleton?
I'm against any flat rate. I do believe you should only pay for what you use. That sounds fair to me. If you use more, you pay more. You use less, you should pay less. As far as requiring a green lawn, I am against that, because that's not to the government's discretion. The government doesn't own your property. You do. And so.
Mr. Halverson.
My water bill is $67.54 every single month. There's zero incentive for me to conserve, and I believe that the rate structure is far too high. I think, like Mr. Culleton says, you should be paying for what you use, and heaven forbid you have to pay a high water bill to keep maintaining a yard. You know, maybe the establishment of some tiered water use structures during the high use months, knowing that it is only pennies on the dollar to cost us per gallon.
Okay, that concludes our questions from the audience. We have 1 minute for each of you to give your why should I vote for you? Why should these fine people vote for you on September 13th, 2 weeks from yesterday? So we start with you. Whose turn is it? Mr. Halverson or Mr. Heyer? Ms. Wicks. Begin with you.
All right, thank you. Why you should vote for me. We have a lot of projects going on in the city. I have the institutional knowledge. We have a council member who's leaving. I will be the only institutional knowledge there. I know how we got there, where we're going, and where the bodies are buried. And I think that's kind of important with a new mayor coming on, to kind of have somebody to help shepherd things along. I'm a conscientious steward of taxpayer dollars. I'm receptive to ideas from my constituents, and you know, I address their problems as if they're my problems, and I think I've done a good job over the years, so that's why you should vote to re-elect me.
Thank you. Mr. Heyer.
Yes, thank you. Again, I want to thank those of you who have come. My experience in 15 years in the Planning Commission, which let me explain what we do there in the Planning Commission, is we look at land use issues, we talk to the citizens about those things, and we make recommendations to the City Council, who will act on those things in most cases. I have talked to people all through the city on public input, gathering meetings about a variety of topics. So I've already got the, I'm up to speed on those things. I wouldn't need to have a big learning curve. I am a team builder. I realize that I'm one of 7 that needs to build a consensus so that we can get anything done. And so I've done that on the Planning Commission as the chair, and I will continue to do that as a City Council member. I will seek to work with the mayor and to build a synergy with the administration to make sure that we stay in a positive direction and keep moving.
Ms. Neal, why should these folks vote for you?
Number one, if elected, my number one focus is that I am the servant of the people, all the citizens of Ogden. One of my other main high priorities would be to focus on education and things that the council administration does that affect the education. Another thing I would really like to do is establish a very accessible open door policy for anyone that has questions, issues in my district. Also, as previous candidates have said, creating a really good communication bridge between the administration and the council. I have a good academic background in economics and mathematics, which means I'm very detail-oriented, and things that come across my desk, if I don't understand them, I will send them back for clarification and also discuss them with the entire council before making a decision.
Thank you. Mr. Wallace?
You know, when I signed up, I wanted to make sure that Ogden had an opportunity to have plenty of choices to vote for. And you know, after getting to know Mr. White and after hearing what he has to say, I'm going to bow out. You've got my vote.
I haven't seen that happen before. Mr. Whitey did not give you his time, though.
All right. First of all, I'm principled and I'm passionate. And I think the problem with our city government is that we've been working too well together. We're $100 million plus in debt. I think we need a fresh start. And so I want to represent Ward 2. I think I'm the best candidate for it, and I think I would be the best candidate that you could vote for. Thank you.
Mr. Culleton?
I believe you should vote for me because I understand the principles that our nation was founded on of liberty. I understand the proper role of government, first and foremost, is to make sure that your rights to life, liberty, and property are protected, and that the society and infrastructure is maintained, and that we have fire, police, and ambulance for the public welfare and safety. And I also believe that my first thing I want to do as a city councilman is not to introduce new laws, but to get rid of bad laws and minimize the size of government. And I'm not running for office to be your public official. I'm running for office to be your public servant, which is the true and correct term. Thank you.
Mr. Halverson?
If I had to pick 3 words best to describe me, it would be passionate, effective, and efficient. I put those on my resume, and I would embrace those and live those, living in this, or serving as your city council. I would live by the ideals of building on the current momentum and successes that we have established, restoring public trust, developing the entire community, not just specific parts, and bringing jobs to Ogden and helping to fill the empty vacant spots. I personally find that I have defined myself by my commitments and by the work that I have done in this community. I'm very, very proud of it. I'm open and responsive to new ideas and will listen to the constituents. I think it's time that we get back to the basics of government, and it's about creating safe neighborhoods for our families to live in and have jobs that they can afford to live in those neighborhoods. And lastly would be to help to reestablish the communication that has broken down between the city administration and the city council. Thank you.
Thank you. And last but certainly not least, Mr. Thompson.
Thank you. I'd like you to vote for me. I'd like you to vote for me because I think I'm the best man for the job. I'm a hard worker. I keep my word. I haven't made any campaign promises. Broken campaign promises is simply a lie. I try to all I can tell you is that I'm going to work as hard as I can possibly work for you as a citizen. Not for myself and not for the mayor, but for the citizens. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, audience and candidates. This concludes our formal portion. But let's give a round of applause to the candidates, please. they're going to be going to their tables here where you can ask the few questions that we didn't get to, so you can ask them then. And I believe that Dan would like to close.
I just have a couple more announcements. Some people have asked who's running for which seat, and I'd just like to make sure everyone knows that the 4 candidates seated on the left, whose tables are on this side, are running for the citywide at-large seat C. Everyone in Ogden gets to vote for one of those candidates in the primary and then one in the general election. The 4 candidates sitting on the right, who will be returning to these tables on the other side of the room, are running for the Municipal Ward 2 seat, and unfortunately not all of us will get to vote for one of those candidates, but I hope that many of you will. One more announcement, which is that there is another seat for which there's an election this fall, and that's actually the part of Ogden that I live in. That's the Municipal Ward 4 seat in the southeastern part of the city. However, the candidate who's running for that seat is Caitlin Gottner, the incumbent, current City Council Chair. She is here to answer your questions. If we had asked her to, she would have been happy to come up here in front, but we thought we should give as much time as possible to the candidates for the contested races. So I just want to acknowledge that Caitlin Gottner is here. She'll be at a table in the back corner and happy to chat with her constituents this evening as well. Thank you and good night.